Page Middle School was a centerpiece for Gloucester County since the 1950s. It is in the hopes of the Gloucester County administration that it will be again someday soon. As our community knows, much of Gloucester County was ravaged by a tornado on April 16, 2011. This tornado tore through much of the courthouse section of Gloucester County, demolishing Page Middle School in the process. But despite the horrifying nature of the event, it brought together a community and jump-started a process that has been years in the making.
I think the community's response so far has been positive. To be sure, there are some folks in the community that feel like this investment would have been more appropriate had the school location been elsewhere. But by and large, the school division's investment in this property off of T.C. Walker Road really does lend itself for future growth in the county and future growth of the school system. As far as our internal teachers and staff members in the school division, I believe that the vast majority of them are excited for the opportunity to open a new school and to see what teaching and learning looks like in that new space.
Many around the area view Gloucester as a small, close-knit community in a time where many large counties have begun to split up. Only residents of Gloucester truly know the bond that we have, but many throughout the area were given a glimpse of our family when the April tornado shredded our oldest school as well as many residential neighborhoods in the area. For many, an event like this could tear a community apart, but instead, this disaster did nothing but bring us closer together and brought Gloucester's youth closer and speeding up the process of mending Page's wound.
When I'm out in the community, I hear from quite a few individuals who are very supportive of what the school board and the staff are doing with the new school. We have our detractors. There are those in the community who don't agree with the path that the school board has taken. Some citizens believe we should have rebuilt on the old Page site or, in fact, refurbished the old Page school. However, the school board made a decision to demolish the old school, build the new school on the new property across the road. And I believe that the majority of the community is in support of that. However, many of the individuals who are most vocal have expressed concerns about that decision.
In the aftermath of the tornado, not only was Gloucester County left with a mass amount of cleanup, but they were also faced with one of the largest decisions in the county's history, whether to rebuild the old Page Middle School or to start from scratch. After much deliberating and projecting, it was decided to recreate Page Middle School in its entirety and deconstruct the decade-old building that had housed the students from half the county. Reconstruction of the new school would be no easy task. To complete this project would take the leadership of a devoted superintendent, the assistance of high-class personnel in the district, and the guidance of a seasoned construction manager.
Well, having been a part of several new school designs and new school projects, I can tell you that opening a new school is a very exciting event for a school community and for the larger community. I'm most excited about the opportunity for young people, and the school that we're designing really is going to be for this year's second and third graders who are going to come up and enter sixth grade in the new Page Middle School. And it's very exciting to think about what middle school might look like for them. It's going to look nothing like what middle school has looked like here in Gloucester County. And so being able to incorporate a new school design, some new floor plans, some new collaborative models of teaching, and new instructional technology is very exciting for our community.
Of course, we're going to build a new middle school building. And it's going to contain, along with the building, we'll be constructing parking lots, driveway entrances to provide for the vehicle, circulation around the building. There'll be athletic areas outside of the building in order to, do our physical education classes. Now, improvements, I would like Mr. Hutchison to address some of the things that will be improved over the previous school.
If you take a look at the drawings, the first one being the site plan, you'll see where the school is located in reference to T.C. Walker Road and the intersection of Route 17. And I know you've all driven by or ridden by and seen the property that's been cleared, where we've actually harvested some trees and tree farm management off the T.C. Walker site that belongs to the school, the 138 acres there. But the property owner who has the property, which is a small stretch of land right along 17, is also taking advantage of harvesting some trees, and that corner is opened up quite a bit. So if you look at the site plan, You'll notice the school has an access not too far back from the intersection. And you'll see that, as Mr. Shorland mentioned, there's athletic fields. Some of those will be some options. We're definitely going to have one multi-use soccer type field and one, at least one backstopped ball field type area. But the other areas would be somewhat possible alternates. The building itself is pretty doggone exciting. I mean, when you look at education and where education's heading into the future, it is a dynamic building that it has opportunities for collaboration, project-based learning, problem solving, a lot of the things that you guys are actually doing as you go into the future. You know, probably the biggest challenge if you were to look at designing a building is what's it going to be like in the future. In other words, I have an iPad in my lap. It didn't exist 3 years ago. So we're going to open this building in a year and a half or so, 2 years actually, and a little more. But what will be the technology at that time? Whatever it is, it's going to be something that will take you guys into the future. I mean, we just asked you about your college career plans based on the technology you have in front of you. This didn't exist several years ago. So I guess the biggest challenge, and again, the most exciting part, is preparing a building that's going to prepare students to meet the challenges of the future and the types of processes that go on in the business world. I mean, people aren't hidden behind glass walls. They do a lot of collaboration. I mean, aren't hidden behind walls. They do a lot of collaboration these days and working together and problem solving. So again, for me, the challenge has been, what are we going to do to prepare you for the future and make sure we meet those needs? I mean, as educators, that's what we look to. Other challenges that have come along have been more in a physical structure type thing. You'll hear comments about the piece of property. It doesn't have wetlands on it. The wetlands are relatively minimal, considering you have 138 acres. The school board did an excellent job of looking at that property before they made the purchase. Actually, they made the purchase in conjunction with the Board of Supervisors about 10 years ago. They did a soil analysis of the property and determined that it was a good construction site for a campus setting. You know, the middle school would be one school, still has room to have a high school and an elementary, should the county grow in the future. Long after I'm gone, that is probably. But, so questions, we've had to answer those questions and make those things public. In fact, we thank you for this opportunity to share some of those things. But it's a solid piece of property, typical of construction areas in Gloucester. Some folks, again, talking about the style of construction, there have been many questions asked. We've had people say, well, gee, there's so much window space in the classrooms and window space to the common areas. But we've taken the opportunity to display some designs that are done in other schools. We've talked about schools in Hampton that have some similar settings like that, schools in Virginia Beach that have similar settings like that. We've even had visitors go to our Abington Elementary, which has a lot of windows and glass, and actually see firsthand that it's not a deterrent, but it's just the opposite. It becomes a contagious atmosphere for students to say, wow, that's going on. I want to be involved in that. I want to get involved. I want to be active in that.
Despite the destruction a natural disaster can bring, the resiliency of people will ultimately shine through. The construction of Page Middle School marks the beginning of a new era, one filled with new promise and new technology in hopes in guiding the youth of tomorrow.